Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica Imperialis and to today's video. Today is episode 89 of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Remleiz from 40k Theories.
Hello everyone.
And our special guests, plural, this week. Joining us, a very old favourite of the show. Ladies, gentlemen, Xenos of all ages and everything in between, I give you Snipe and Wib.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Snipe, he's Wib.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah. I thought I'd specify.
Yes. Certainly not your first time on the show, and hopefully not the last either.
We have to maintain percentage dominance.
I mean, what is this? Not counting episode 50, is this 4?
I think this is 4.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah. I think it's more than 4.
Because there was that time when we, emergency filled in, the week after we did it previously as well, so...
Oh, true. Yeah, I think we had a guest who Bale had to cancel at the last moment.
Yes, because Dr. White decided he'd rather play Dark Heresy.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Was that the story? I couldn't remember.
That was the story.
Unfortunately for you, we don't have a social life.
Speak for yourself.
I've not forgotten this, White.
But thank you very much for having us on again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good to have you. Right, I'm going to preface this now. There is an absolute flip ton of stuff in the news, as there always seems to be of late. So, if some stuff that you find interesting gets a bit glossed over because we have to go at 1 trillion miles an hour, I'm sorry, accept my apologies in advance, but there are some things we really want/need to talk about.
Excuse me, I do hope that we're going to spend a long time discussing the new Forge World transfer sheets. That is the most important thing that has come out.
It's what the public want.
Now, we'll be talking about how Jack Draco's in the Cal Jericho book.
We will not be, because that is plausibly deniable.
That he's real.
And also, I'm sick of Snipe and Wib shows being derailed by that conversation, so...
Same.
I mean, it's not like we're talking about Battenberg.
Ooh, I literally saw Battenberg in the shop the other day, and I immediately thought, I should send some to Remleiz, but, cover it in concrete first. Just to, send a
Why
message.
concrete?
We'll send it in, a lead-lined box or something.
Yeah, lead-lined, basically put it in a black box. So it's yeah, you've got Battenberg, but it's where it belongs.
Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but Michael did say that there was a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and we're talking about it, Wib. Battenberg is have you not read the Warhammer Community today?
Okay, can you please just move on, and then they won't be able to talk over you,
Something about Tower Aircraft.
Yep, we'll start there then.
Yes.
So, this comes from the Nuremberg Toy Fair, which will make our opener. I know LVO's a thing, we'll get to LVO, don't worry. And this is about the Aeronautica Imperialis box set the second, Skies of Fire. In essence, they're adding in a new faction and also updating another. So, the Astra Militarum / the Imperial Navy are gaining... I don't know my flyers well enough to know exactly what both of them are, but one's a Valkyrie / Vendetta, and the other is a Thunderbolt?
Probably.
I think so.
No.
I'm also very bad with the planes, because they're all Forge World models.
Rem, you did Men-at-Arms and all that stuff. I felt like you might stand a chance of knowing, but I'm no expert.
One goes shooty shooty bang bang, the other one goes
Oh.
Right, and the other one is for the Tau Empire, who I think that's either Barracuda and Tiger Shark, or Barracuda... I don't think it's a Manta, it's too small to be a Manta.
It's far too small to be a Manta.
So I'm thinking Barracuda and Tiger Shark, but I'm willing to be corrected, because again, I don't know my Tau Forge world well enough to check.
I will say I legit really love the little Valkyries. I don't know
They
why.
are so sweet.
I think it's because I find things that I'm used to seeing at a certain size but really small amuse me a lot. It's why as a kid I loved micro-missions.
I mean, to be fair, you are just looking for an excuse to pick up Titanicus.
I already have I have three Titans.
Yeah, but I know that you.
Well, if you want more excuses, may I point you into the Baby Nemesis Warbringer direction?
Oh yeah, they're really fun.
Baby.
Not to mention the new Titanicus starter set as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the what's it called? A Nemesis thing. Warbringer Nemesis, because there's a full size, well, I'll say full size of 40k scale one that they've had at Warhammer World for like the last few years, like fully painted
It's
up.
got like a 2-foot cannon.
And I'm just, because it's like fully painted and just looks so gorgeous, I've been so enamored by it. Because
You can buy the Forge World one.
Yeah,
if you had to spare like £2,000.
Oh yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah, sod rent. This is important.
So yeah, it's nice to see a version that I could maybe one day actually own.
Yeah, and interestingly, in the new Titanicus campaign book supplement, Shadow and Iron, it's Betrayal at Calth's Aftermath, and also introduces the Ordo Sinister.
Side Titans.
The Side Titans. Now, I want to raise some more from my Discord, who is absolutely fuming about this, because if a Titan or machine makes its way into Titanicus, there is about a 99% chance, because it's the same mold just downsized, that it's going to make its way into mainstream 40k or 30k. Now, the 30k Warlord Side Titan is possibly the most stupid thing I have ever encountered. It's Psycho level 3, back when that was in 30k terms. Psycho level 3, got a volcano cannon on one arm, a 240-inch range Doom Blaster on the other, and all sorts of shenanigans. It's like 2,500 points, but it is utterly ridiculous. So there is one person I know who's particularly mad about Side Titans being in Titanicus because of the risk of seeing them in the main games. But, hey.
It's not Scarlet, is it?
No, it isn't. It's not a YouTuber, I can tell you that.
Right, fair enough.
And the other thing from that event is the expansion of House Goliath, getting the Stimmers, the Forgeborn, who look like they came out straight out of Fallout 3 to the pit.
Oh, yeah.
And the House of Chains expansion. I think I saw a video from Kirioth today saying that Necromunda and Age of Sigmar have better Khorne Berserkers than actual Khorne Berserkers at this point.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Well,
No,
aren't
he's
the current Khorne Berserker models just, the same ones from 3rd edition?
Rubbish.
Yeah, they're from 3rd Ed, yeah.
They're just, oh god, they are showing.
And they were early 3rd Ed as well, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it could be worse. We could be stuck with the same, 2nd Ed monopose ones. Chainsaw out to the side, bolt gun out front.
I personally wish we still had the ones that had, like, their leg out. Like, was that?
They had like one bare arm, and then they had one bit like the Angelina Jolie leg.
Yeah, wasn't
like
that
sticking out? Like, hello, I never skip leg day. Look at these gams.
Was that right? I think that I can't remember if that was like the Realm of Chaos era ones, or if that was like slightly after. I think it might be slightly after. But yeah, I personally, I think we should go back to that. Khorne Berserkers
I think
with a
there
leg
should be like 1 or 2 models like that just for yucks. Because I've been wanting to start a Chaos Army for a while, and that would tip me over. I would be like, dang, okay, I'll just have a full like.
What, Khorne Berserker just naked from the waist down?
Yes, a lot of green stuff would be required. But it's cool.
Well, since if they're Khorne Berserkers are naked from the waist down, does that mean that they pierce their junk with skulls and that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty fashionable.
I think let's be fair, like just to keep they're
going to put in each testicle is going to be placed into a skull. So when they run, it's like so they sound like horses.
I was going to go just coconuts.
Yeah,
yeah. Basically.
I was going to say just to keep the age rating intact, they'd probably just wear like a codpiece that just was a skull.
That would work as well, and you could dress to the left or right depending on the eye socket preference.
Fucking hell, love. Please talk about.
I'm sorry, Michael. I'll try and reel it in.
Whose channel is this one on? Because normally we end up
mine.
Sorry. Okay, I'll try and keep it PG.
We always do the worst.
I, the teacher.
We always do the worst one on yours. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's fine.
That's
fine.
the teacher disappointment voice right there, and that hits so hard.
Let's stay with big machines and also things that aren't particularly made by GW for a second, or are made by Subset.
One really quick thing I just wanted to mention about the new Goliaths. It's really cool to see female Goliaths because it stops the whole Escher and Goliath thing being girls versus boys, which is always just a bit weird to me.
Also, they look really, really cool.
Yeah.
They do. So I want to talk about something that was raised at Las Vegas Open, but then was probably fleshed out later. The Forge World indexes that you've been using since the start of 8th edition are going, and being replaced by a set of books written by the Warhammer 40,000 team. This is to presumably take the load off of Forge World for one reason or another, or because they're trying to integrate the two studios, and what it should theoretically do is allow the books for Forge World, which are either ridiculously rubbish or ridiculously broken, to come back into a measure of balance, because some things in the Forge World books are a little bit silly.
Leviathan Dreadnoughts.
I want them to not nerf my Leviathan too much because I love it. But I would also like them to make anything to do with orcs viable because they're all terrible.
I would rather
Squiggoth.
I would rather they just release Fires of Syraxis now, please. You know, Imperial Armor Volume 13. We're still waiting for that. Well, Volume 14 is now.
That's a thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes. Volume 14. Sorry.
I think we're almost. We're nearly at the point of it's not happening. Get over it, but we're not quite there yet.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to mention that quickly. The other thing to mention, actually, we'll come back to that one. Is there anything else to do before we dive into the LVO madness?
Don't think so.
Titanicus terrain?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Terrain's cool. I mean, they mix and match, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, we got it confirmed that Psychic Awakening 5 is going to be Tau versus Genestealer Cults versus Astra Militarum. So any involvement of the Death Guard has been greatly over-exaggerated by. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out, because realistically the Tau kind of have to win because Shadow Sun... Well, the Genestealer Cults winning would be interesting, but the problem is Shadow Sun's there. And because she's the only named character, in terms of famous named character present, the odds of her losing are lowered, and especially because she's got a badass new model and they want to push it, having her be jobbed out immediately to the Guard and the Genestealer Cults, who are basically just regular human beings.
I mean, in fairness, yeah, just because someone's got a new model doesn't mean they're immune from being jobbed out. I mean, look at Marnia's Calguy. He got Primarified, then had a shit kicked out of him by Abaddon.
In the next book, when Abaddon got his model, Calgar was Primarified for Vigilus Defiant, where they won for a bit, and then Vigilus Ablaze, Abaddon got released.
He was winning for like 1 month.
That was still a win,
it was
though.
A solid
In
3.
fairness, this isn't like second and third edition
3.
where they're like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of characters you can play, they're all dead, by the way.
Yeah, it was a solid 3 months, I think, before Abby came along, but at least Calgar got a bit of time. It wasn't... The book he was released in wasn't the one where he got jobbed out.
Can you imagine if it was? That would have been hilarious. Here's your new model. He's shitting the law.
Yeah, so I feel like Shadow Sun's probably going to win that one, or if she doesn't, then it will be through the Tyranids turn up and...
Or be a stalemate.
Or, well, with the Genestealer Cults, you don't really get stalemates, because either they get driven back underground, or the Tyranids show up, or they conquer the planet.
What can happen is that... the Imperial Minotaur started off, the Genestealers pop out of nowhere, then there's a team up against the Genestealers, and then it's like, right, okay, we kick the shit out of them. Now, back to kicking the shit out of each other.
Yeah, there's ways to do it. I think if there is a favourite to win, though, it's probably Shadow Sun.
I've got to agree. I think it, like, Shadow Sun, like, again, as Michael said, being the only named character, suffers from anime protagonist syndrome, where, like, if you see some person with, like, a crazy haircut versing a normal person, it's like, yeah, who's going to win? Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously.
The person who's going to win is the one who has their theme song playing.
Oh.
That's fair.
That would, yeah.
What's Shadow Sun's theme to?
Those Who Fight Further.
Okay.
Obviously. All the, like, the really, really sped up, like, chocobo, like, music. With the
I thought you were going to say, like, oh, Those Who Fight For the Nightcore remix.
No!
When you mentioned chocobo, I thought you were going to talk about the System of a Down version or something.
What? I missed that. Am I a fake Final Fantasy VII fan?
No, wait, no, sorry, no, it wasn't. No, hang on. I'm thinking of when Serge Tankian did a cover of The Legend of Zelda. My bad.
Oh, okay, because, like, when you say, like, Serge, I think that I remember that we went and watched the latest Godzilla movie in the cinema, and it ended with, Godzilla
becoming mayor.
Like, no, Oh, help me! I can't.
don't know what
work.
you're talking about.
The Blue Oyster Cult song Godzilla was
yeah.
covered by Surge and a bunch of other people.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, what? This is amazing.
It was like it was a cover of the Blue Oyster Cult song. Yeah.
So that took me about 47 minutes to say.
Shall we move on?
For some reason, yeah.
Okay, well, going from slightly metal music to slightly metal warriors, let's talk about LVO and the Skitarii.
I love
Cowboys!
them.
I'm good at segues.
You got cowboys with flamethrower horses. It's awesome.
I love them so
Mother
much.
Hubbards.
And it took me a long time reading the word written down to realise, it's supposed to be Cerberus. It's just spelled in
it's
the
Cerberus.
worst possible way.
Honestly, I love the Cerberus. They're very, very cool. They don't even look like berries. I'm quite impressed.
I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get some of those Mechanicus cowboys, but replace them with Space Marines, convert them to Cowboy Space Marine chapter, and use them as bikes.
Good.
So I can have my Cowboy Space Marine chapter.
I legit want to just make, like, a cavalry detachment using a bunch of them.
They are very, very cool.
Like...
And you could probably convert them for, like... sorry, I've got my Sigmar brain on, because I know what's coming. I know what's coming, so I've got my Sigmar brain already switched on. Of a free city allied to the Kharadron, who are very steampunk,
totally.
and having like steampunk pistoliers and outriders.
The drummer Matt, the guy we do our podcast with, he was talking about wanting to make a sort of 40k army from the steampunk dwarves. That even though you just said their name like 3 seconds ago,
Kharadron.
I've already forgot it. I cannot keep that in my head. Kharadron, did you say?
Kharadron Overlords.
Okay. Yeah, the
Karen.
Kharadron is what he said.
That's the space
No,
sharks.
it's not Kharadron. Why would they give them a different name?
Anyway, he was talking about wanting to make a 40k army based on them. And he was like seeing this stuff from the new Mechanicus stuff and going, those mixed with the Overlords would be really cool. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, and the other unit that they got, or the kit that they've got, is the Taraxii. Yes, I put an EI sound, not a Taraxi. Go with it. The flying Sicarians with the bat wings, and I said this in my video on LVO. Can we get rid of these flipping bendy flying bases, please?
Dreadful. Just melt them away.
I don't have many rants, but these flying stands don't work.
I love having to pin my flying stands because by default they don't work.
Yeah, I've still not managed to get an eel to sit on the base yet. I'm not even going to try with my Alapex. I'm not going to try.
I think one of the worst ones I've seen is Inceptors, because they're just so heavy and big compared to a lot of the things they put on them.
There was a big diorama at Warhammer World that had a bunch of those, and they just basically didn't bother with the stands, and I was just like, yeah, I bet you don't don't bother with the stands because they are garbage.
It says a lot that the only when you see people making the models that come on these stands, the vast majority of ones I see, people don't use them and make some big terrain for them to stand on instead.
Yeah, and it's not like they can't do that, but these, because they're very similar to the Daughters of Cain Kinnerai, who have bat wings and dynamic poses, and they've all just got 1 foot on a rock or something. It's not hard, and it's not like they've made them super dynamically posed either. I mean, like you could do more with a ball joint.
My Gemini Superior, they have what is it? They just have, really long purity seals that work. I mean, they're still wobbly, but God, they are 1,000 times better than those bloody things.
Yeah, I've used I the one that I've actually used and got everything working on. The only way I did so was by actually just drilling a hole in the back of it. I made a custom Smash Captain out of a random Inceptor I had lying around. And so I just drilled a hole in the back of him and then stuffed the entire peg in the hole because that was the only way to keep it stable. Yeah. I do not understand how they are so badly designed.
I really hope they are starting to be phased out because I hate them.
They will not, because they just keep
releasing new models. I hate them so much that I want to pretend.
The new models do look really cool, and they match quite nicely with that new flyer that I forget the name of that they showed off a little while. Yeah, it's just straight out of Dune.
Yeah, and the Archaeopter and these guys are all coming as part of Psychic Awakening 7. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No. It's cool.
Okay, so yes, Psychic Awakening 7 is going to be Engine War, aka retread the Schism of Mars, but do it better, or more modern. And it's going to be Mechanicus and Knights versus Chaos Knights and Demons. This was the perfect chance for Codex Dark Mech, but, you know, book's got a book, and we can't have anything important come out in Psychic Awakening. So, it's... lore-wise, it's been a bit of a flop. I love the models that they put out with it, but the lore's just not done anything. And that's the disappointment. It's like, yay, we got a new Mephisto model. Why? So that the Blood Angels could take one planet off the Tyranids. Yay, we got some updated legion rules. Why? For another stalemate on another important Imperial planet. Yay, we got new Phoenix Luminaries. Why? So that no one could actually die because Yiniad. Yay. Sorry, I sound really, really petty. I know I do, and I don't intend to, but... No, but I know the comments, and when I start complaining, it is instant whinge. Yeah, I think Psycho Awakening 5 needs to do something drastic and really bring the Tau forward. Psycho Awakening 6, well, let's talk about Psycho Awakening 6, shall we? Because we know the poster miniature that is coming for it.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, Remleiz, they didn't tell you? Oh, that's embarrassing. Guess we're the favourites.
The ultimate warlord, the galaxy's most notorious.
Oh yes,
green
Makari.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that boy.
Didn't he get
So
Saturn
he's
on fed
alive.
to a squig?
Makari the Grot.
Yeah, he's just alive now. Because he's like...
Greatly exaggerated
Yeah.
rumor.
I mean, Ghazghkull probably is coming with him as well, so, you know.
I mean, I'm going to be real here. Like, who actually cares about Ghazghkull? It is all Makari. If, like... Okay, so one person cares about Ghazghkull.
I have got a question, because I also, when we recorded our last podcast, I was talking to Drummer Matt about this. I was trying to think, when was the last actual hard retcon? Because bringing Makari back, unless it's a new Makari.
I don't think it's the same one, just because it's silly.
Fifth Ed
Yeah,
Necrons,
because people talk about Primaris retcon, but that's not a retcon. That's just a new thing.
That's an addition. That's an expansion.
Yeah, that's not the
upon
same thing.
The current story.
But yeah, I was trying to think of when was the last actual hard no, something just didn't happen. I was trying to think, because obviously, if it is the same Makari, then yeah, that's a proper retcon.
Metal Gear Solid 3 was pretty hard for it.
Oh, fuck off. But yeah, if it's way back, if it's way back to Fifth Ed Necrons, it's been a while. Then I'm sure there's some other little thing somewhere. But,
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably been some minor updates in terms of changing names and places, but in terms of resurrecting someone that wasn't done to advance the plot, High Gilliman.
It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ghazghkull, it looks like he's back for Psycho Awakening 6, which good, because that means the Space Wolves are more than
I
likely
will say this with regards
Honestly,
to
yeah.
the Ghazghkull model, from what we've seen, from what people put together from that teaser, it looks to be sporting the exact same pose as the Dark Vengeance Hellbrew.
Maybe. It's one of those things that can be a little tricky to tell from the bits we see. Although I will say, as someone who, well, technically has an orc army, but just hasn't got around to playing them much in 8th, because mostly
Same.
because I just basically
Same.
everything that would make them function, I just don't have, and everything that I had that was cool has been over the editions gradually removed from the game. So I'm just like, oh, I need to buy a lot to make this a functional army again.
Bring back Nazdrag.
But it is really cool to see a new Ghazghkull, because even though I still genuinely think that the previous Ghazghkull model is a really cool sculpt, just with the way everything's been getting taller and taller over time, the Beast of Armageddon is a little bit diminutive now.
Well, I mean, height is not everything. But
Yeah.
it is for an orc.
Yeah.
In orc terms,
That's
it
the
is.
thing. It's he's
supposed-
he big boy because he best boy.
Yeah.
So yeah. He
Yeah,
does need
absolutely.
to be like, even just with like, I'm not really usually a massive stickler for lore, but it doesn't make sense that he'd not get a lot taller.
Yeah, because I know like all models are like abstractions,
Yeah.
like in terms of how tall they
Everything
are.
is kind of
and,
like,
you know.
you know, basically like balanced for tabletop. Nothing is like, it's not true scale. I appreciate, but at the same time, make him a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Just a bit bigger.
Yeah, and I think the way the lore has built Ghazghkull up, it should be that he's about the 4th or 5th best fighter melee wise in the game. Because aside from the Primarchs and Abaddon, debatably, there is no better close quarters combat fighter in this galaxy than Ghazghkull right
That's
now.
basically because he's a bulldozer that can shout at you.
Yeah, but he's never felt like that.
Yeah.
And even any time I played Ghazghkull, even going back to 5th edition, he never felt like, apart from the turn he got a 2-up invuln from the 4th Ed Codex. Like, that was nice, but he never felt like that train wreck that would just, right, if Ghazghkull charges you, you go and die. That's how it should feel. And it just never did.
He should probably, be in the same sort of bracket as your Primarchs and things, like, for how dangerous
I mean,
he
he is like a legendary character.
Yeah, and of course,
So
like,
it does
I mean,
make
he's
sense.
basically a prime orc.
Yeah.
and of course, because of the way orcs work, he should be, over time, be getting more and more dangerous,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he's bigger and stronger and smarter as time goes on.
I mean, I appreciate they wouldn't like constantly adjust rules to like make him outrageously powerful, but like physically they could be kind of doing it, and like rule wise, yeah, like Michael says, they could just have like I think Murderfang probably feels a lot more Ghazghkull than Ghazghkull does. Yeah,
it should be hitting on 2s, strength probably at least 6, if not 7. Toughness probably, I think it's 5. You could dare, if you push it, go to 6. At least 8 wounds, I think, because war bosses are on 5. Abaddon's on 6, but Ghazghkull is just an unholy brute to put down. So 6 to 8 wounds, 5 attacks at least. Can we sort his leadership up to 10, please, if it wasn't already? Because that was 9 for ages, and I want that fixed if it wasn't. A proper invulnerable save would be bloody nice. Maybe some feel no pain without having to rely on a stupid pain boy being nearby, because pain boys suck. Well, maybe they do. He should just feel like a monster and be treated accordingly.
Well, hopefully with the new thing, they will adjust these things to be more in line with how he feels like he should be.
Yeah, and I know I'm wish listing, but we will see. Right, can I talk about Sigmar for a bit?
No, you're not allowed. I know this is your podcast, but we say no.
don't bring me into this. Go for it, Michael.
Right.
I will give you permission.
Yeah.
Unless you'd rather go to get into a subject that I brought up last episode, which got revealed shortly afterwards.
Which was?
The Zote.
I predicted that.
You know, you just did Codex Zotes in a video.
Yeah, I did, and it was amazing. And
I predicted it last episode.
I predicted it way earlier than you predicted it.
It's not. It's not a competition. It's
Yes,
just,
it is, and I did it first.
They revealed it 2 days
back.
after I predicted it, so
There is a Zote back, and we just all need to be grateful for it.
No, it was me. Remleiz is a thief and a cur. I don't know why he's a thief, but he is.
Will you let Michael talk about his high elves?
I will, but I like arguing with Remleiz.
I will say with the Zote though, since we're there, the gun looks really first edition, but I still dig it.
It is good.
It's basically like, it's like lizard meets
It's a
Thanos
Liz tour.
Gauntlet / Huron Blackheart Gauntlet meets Mortarion style Rebreather meets Bolter crossed with Pincer Gun crossed with Big Mech Tinkering, and also it's a dinosaur.
I will say it's just straight out of the original Unreal, like the video game. It looks like it's just straight out of that.
So what you're saying is that it looks unreal.
Yes, yes, it does, because it's got in the monsters and just the general aesthetic of the original Unreal game. There's a lot of face masks. There's a lot of just shirtless monsters with like weapons and stuff like that. And it honestly, the Zote model looks like it's just straight out of Unreal. and that is a compliment I really do like.
Yeah,
the
no,
way it looks.
I really like it, and I do very much appreciate how GW has been using some of their smaller, like, little games to bring back weird little elements of, like, Rogue Trader. Although I am
things
very
that wouldn't
interested.
work on the grand scale.
Yeah, and I am really interested to see how they're going to canonically deal with Azot.
Yeah, I got someone.
Well,
someone was adding me on Twitter, going, "Weren't they something to do with the Tyranids?" And I was like, "Yeah, but that was when the Tyranids were quite different."
Yeah.
Did everyone forget about High Fleet Colossus, which was Azot High Fleet from 4th and 5th edition?
It's fine. That didn't happen.
Did everyone forget that? It was mentioned in the 4th Ed Nid Codex and the 5th Ed Space Wolf Codex.
No, not a thing. Sorry.
They
I
entered the
heard show
galaxy
you this.
claimed to be fleeing oppression and slavery.
Nah.
And then they had the Zoroaster Attila War with the Imperium because they tried to colonize a bunch of Imperial worlds.
Convincing fan fiction.
You're just digging deep for no reason here. Just
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
I've seen a lot of people like posting videos like, "Oh, what are going to be the wider ramifications of Azot being back?" So, well, again,
Nothing.
last time we saw him, it was 5th edition, so it's not actually that long
Yeah.
ago.
It's
Secondly,
just
you
now they
know,
have cool models.
There was no wider ramifications when we had the new squat models. There was no wider ramifications when we had the Man of Iron model. There was no wider ramifications when the Sahar got mentioned in the Horus Heresy Black Books.
yeah, it's like
It's-
some things.
yeah,
Some
it's-
things just can exist. It's a big universe. They don't have to mean anything. They can just be.
It's not gonna, like, if everything is like galaxy shattering, then everything isn't. Like, then it just makes everything else boring. Then you get like World of Warcraft expansions. Well, you gotta save the world, but this time it's a fire world.
And let's be honest, Warhammer 40,000 managed to not budge like in its where its story was for about 25 years. A single Zot is not going to make it budge.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Speaking of Warcraft, how about that controversy with Reforged, eh?
Ooh, nice one, Blizzard Activision. Ooh. It's like, I expected nothing and I'm still disappointed.
All they added was a shot of Illidan getting yamchered.
Yeah. Yeah, and also basically going, we've put like EULA agreements in so that Dota can't happen again without us making all the money.
Yeah.
Which is just like, okay, really showing your friggin' hand there.
What about the Lumineth Realm Lords?
Yes, Michael!
Oh, goodness, where do I begin? Right.
Super Saiyan Vizark.
Yeah, the Light of Eltharion. This is going to be model of the year. I'm calling it now. This might be model of the year.
It's
gonna
fucking
be up there.
beautiful.
It is.
It's Super
it
Saiyan
is
Vizark.
so gorgeous.
Like, having seen with Drazhar, they know how to do elven-like things in hero poses. They're
It's the
good
same
at
pose
it.
as Drazhar, isn't it?
Not quite. Drazhar sort of swinging two blades, one behind his back and is up on a rock leaning to one side. This is more stood like the Vizark. But this miniature is ridiculous. And I know there are going to be light source painters who are going to have a field day with it.
Yeah, it's going to be
It's-
amazing seeing the work coming out of this model.
Yeah, it is brilliant. It is a hollow miniature. Consider that an actual model where you don't have to paint flesh. I can't tell you how annoying painting flesh is.
Oh,
It's
it
really
really
nice not to have.
is. Sod it. Terrible.
Yes. Then they gave us the best cavalry I've seen in years. Oh my god.
I like
And
how the
this-
horses look like they're doing like little dances.
But they actually
look like
look
they're
like
doing-
horses.
They
Oh,
do,
what is
yeah.
it? It's not decoupage.
Dressage.
Okay.
Dressage.
You know, it's-
decoupage is like paper crafting.
You know, it's really weird. We so
Décolletage.
in
Yeah.
the last of our podcast, Snipe wasn't in it. Matt and I literally had a discussion about how these were doing dressage.
Really?
Yeah. And I hadn't talked to you about that, but
No,
yeah.
but they're literally doing dressage, and like to be fair, with like well, they're high elves. Like it actually works really well. Like because there's like an elegance to it.
One thing that I really, really like about the whole thing is that, so I like Age of Sigmar models as a general rule, but they do have a very distinct, like, over-the-top, cartoony kind of aesthetic
Well,
compared
it's
to...
very like
It's high fantasy.
high
Yeah,
fantasy, like
compared to like
heroic.
old Warhammer Fantasy that
Yeah.
had which
Yeah.
was a bit more grounded for like its base troops anyway. You know, it obviously went out
Yeah.
there in certain things, and these feel really like harkening back to Warhammer Fantasy's kind of aesthetics than the Age of Sigmar
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, they the spearmen are basically just hoplites. they are just hoplites.
Yeah.
And they look stunning as a result. But the lore behind them is interesting. I won't get into much detail, but from what we've had of them, because they're getting the Sister Battle treatment, where they're getting bi-weekly update articles and all that stuff. And the one this week was their sort of origin story, where they were created by Teclis, and they got smart, they became wise, and they essentially did an Eldari.
Oh yeah, haven't they actually got like their own version of Soul Stones now as well?
Well, that's their realm stone that they use, but in essence, they were corrupted by Slaanesh, fell in their own way, but were able to come back to Teclis and go back down Teclis's path, and the reinvention inspires the aspects of their lives. They channel the geomantic spirits of Hish. Yes, it's Hish, not Heish. They've got distinctive subcultures, which is a callback to the Idoneth Deepkin, who have their 3 subcultures, dedicated to their chosen paths to avoid Slaanesh. They use the Ether Quartz Realm Stone to essentially trap, drain their emotions away by using it as power sources. It drains their emotion to do so. So it's a really interesting mix.
So it's basically it's Craftworlders crossed with Vulcans.
In some ways, I guess. Obviously, there's going to be more to it than that, but that's the basic premise of they are the High Elves in that they are aloof, snooty asshats. They are the Craftworlders in that they are constantly worried about Slaanesh and draining their own emotions away so that they don't worry about it, which the Idoneth also do, because they keep their souls and emotions as safe as they can. They've got the Carillium, which is basically just a world spirit type thing. Or not world spirit. What you call the place? What's the
Infinity
place where you
Circuit?
put the spirit? That's it. Thank you. They have their own Infinity Circuit, and it's a real interesting blend. And the whole Greek aesthetic fits really well with the Idoneth, which it does. And the Daughters of Cain have got the Dionysian women, the Menaids, and the Gorgon Medusa factor going on. And then there's Teclis, and I don't know about Teclis.
It was Giant Sphinx.
I love the Sphinx.
I love the Sphinx so much because it looks like, you know that meme picture of like someone pointing the knife at the cat, and the cat's got like the kind of like
Smug face.
Yeah, that's a friggin'
Smug face cat.
Smug face cat, and I'm like, I love it so much.
Just why couldn't Teclis be not balanced on it by his cloak? Just anything but that.
It does look like he's been photoshopped on.
It was a little ruined for me by the first comment I saw someone say about it, was that it looks like Teclis is being like the model is photographed like halfway through a perfect dismount.
Yeah, like the person taking the photo took it a bit too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 10 though.
It is a slightly strange pose. Like I think it's like, so I
Bloody
think
come at me.
a lot of the big Sigmar models I tend to find are a bit over detailed, and I find them like a bit difficult to even work out what they're trying to be sometimes, because it's just stuff everywhere. Whereas I think this one's a lot better on that regard. But yeah, Teclis's pose is just a bit weird.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, like we've seen Morathi. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Alariel got around the problem by just riding the giant beetle demon or whatever it is. Teclis, I feel, actually might have been better served by being on foot.
Yeah, or if he was just like standing on its back looking like he's about to jump, that'd be really cool as well.
Well, the thing is, he isn't jumping. He doesn't ride it. He just flies because he's magic.
Well, he should be standing on its horns being like, hey, balancing.
But what I think...
He could be on one of the Wibbly flying bases.
He could be.
But the pose is actually a bit of a callback to the actual old fantasy Teclis miniature, which is a bit sword pointy down, turned a bit and yelling, but is a bit similar to that. Obviously, the staff and sword goes along with Teclis very nicely. I feel like as a god, he doesn't need, just because he's god, he doesn't need to be this huge imposing miniature. Nagash does, because Nagash is Nagash. Morathi, in her human elf form, looks menacing, absolutely effing terrifying, even before she goes all Shadow Queen. I think Teclis would have been better served by being maybe on a 40mm base with a mini sort of diorama, not quite Catacross level, but having him on the top of a spire, a small little mini spire rising up, or having him wrapped in a celestial vortex like the Celestant Prime. Just make Teclis the focus and it all be about Teclis, because he's a god. He's an actual god of light and knowledge and enlightenment, and everyone's going to talk about the flying cat.
Yeah.
In
But
fairness,
the
if
flying
you
cat looks way more like a god than that.
Yeah,
than that
And you could
miniature.
keep the flying cat as its own separate, unique miniature,
Yeah.
and it would look fine.
I guess it is that problem of that if you enter a room and you've got a flying cat with the face of a human, people are going to ask questions about the flying cat with the face of a human,
Yeah, that does,
even if you are literally a god.
it does draw the eye. I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, it does look like he's just been playing with super glue with his kitty spirit, and he's glued himself to his wing, and it's like, oh bloody hell!
I'm just going to roll with it.
They're taking the photo. But yeah, he is. I thought he was just a standard unit because I don't know anything about the thing, and it was just like, oh.
Teclis is just a guy who gives you quests in Chaos Bane, to me.
Teclis is the guy who fucked everything up in the Warhammer world, which led to its destruction.
No, that was Manfred von Carstein.
He's
oh
still
God,
fucked
it's
up.
that Teclis. I hate that guy. Oh, what a prick. Yeah, no, I think you should just cut Teclis off and make the cat Teclis because it's got so much more presence.
I mean, to be honest, I will be getting this miniature because I'm going to get a Lumineth army, and, well, if I get all the gods, like, if Tyrion gets a miniature, I get Marathi, I get Malerion when he comes out, I get Alariel, I get the full Elven Pantheon back together, because I've just got a problem with having too much of an obsession with Elven armies. But I think I'd probably put him stood in front of the Sphinx, and just maybe nick one of my endless spells that I know I'm never going to use, like, maybe the Prismatic Palisade, or possibly the base of the Burning Head, where it's just got the flames rising up, and mix it up with all the endless spells underneath him and have him stood on this like glowing pit of radiant light magic. So he's still at front and center, looking like a badass, and the Sphinx is just behind him as his guardian and stuff, rather than his basically lift.
Well, I mean, behind every great god is a cat-faced thing.
A man-faced cat.
A man-faced cat. That's a classic
Also, the
saying.
lizard men are getting a blooming portal ziggurat doom launcher, which looks lovely. But I've said my piece on the Lumineth now.
Are you sure?
I don't. Well, I could go. I did my LVO video and went on for about 20 minutes.
Fair.
So, for the sake of the brevity of the podcast, I'm going to stop.
That's probably a good idea.
So the Nurgle cat.
Anything else? Oh yes,
Oh,
Sassy Nurgling has been officially subverted.
yeah, the Retchling is a sweet little baby.
It's going to be a fight. It's going to be fights now between that and the Sassy Nurgling.
I don't know. I'd say that while this is good, Sassy Nurgling cannot be defeated.
Yeah, Sassy Nurgling still has my heart.
Oh, absolutely.
Or possibly Nurgling in sunglasses from the old Rogue Trader trailer.
Okay,
I
that,
think
that
I
was
still
pretty good.
Don't I still
That's
use that as
still
my
your Discord avatar.
Yes, you are.
Discord avatar.
That was really good.
Yeah.
But model-wise, yeah, it's got to be Sassy Nurgling beating like the Retchling, because adorable as he is, he's no Sassy Nurgling. I'm sorry.
But a strong contender.
Strong contender.
Indeed. And also, if you're a 30k person, I hope you like pig-faced white scars, because we got Kinzar.
Who?
The master of the Keshig in the white scars.
He's got the really cool like mask.
Oh yeah, I'm not impressed by this, to be honest.
I think
I think
if he had a regular helm, I think I'd love it.
it's not the hell. It's
The
the
head just
base
doesn't
that
work for
bothers me more than anything else.
Mm,
It just looks very. I'm just reminded of Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. That's one big pile of shit.
I know. One thing I do find really interesting about it is that so it's a smashed up Contemptor on the base, and so
that's like the foreboding calm before the storm. Like, hey, Contemptors are like gonna get nerfed.
maybe the Relic Contemptors is going to get nerfed. Yeah,
Who knows?
But the fact that you're actually seeing a Marine inside inside a dreadnought as a model. Because I don't think we've had that before, like an actual model of
Well,
them.
I think
No, I
it
don't think
I think
so.
it differs from like, oh, they're in like a sack of whatever, and then they're like just strapped in there.
Oh,
or
there's-
whatever. It's a weird one.
There's
It's quite a contentious issue.
there is some very different interpretations
Yes.
of how the internals of a dreadnought work, depending on which author you're reading and which model you're looking at.
Lots of
So,
lots of fluid.
yes.
Yeah.
You could say that the authors treat the issue with a bit of contempt. I'll stop.
You're a
That's
loose
terrible joke.
cannon, Michael.
You claim my jokes are terrible.
Loose cannon, yes. I like that. I like that. Approve.
But yeah, no, I think his unmasked face is a bit. It looks a bit like a freshly wanked cock. But don't laugh. I would
What?
say like. I'm not a massive fan of it, is what I'm saying. But like, I like the pose. I don't think it's too over the top, and I like the more kind of, like the more kind of themed armor. I think is pretty cool. But yeah,
I'd agree
I
with
do
that.
think it's different, and I like it.
I would definitely agree with that.
I'm not a fan of the burgundy
right, what's the-
coloration, though.
On the base?
No, on his
or the
armour.
cloak?
Like the side skirts of it.
Yeah, because it's not as harsh
not as-
red as they normally
yeah.
do Red Scars. So.
It's a bit more
White Scars? Why did I say
crimson,
Red Scars? White Scars.
because you're looking at red.
It,
Yeah.
it, look,
It's
it looks
more
like
of a burgundy.
he's looked like he's dressed himself with a bunch of blackcurrant chew.
Oh, now I want some fucking fruit roll-ups. Thank you so much, Remleiz.
Yeah, some what's it, Treeball wine gums or whatever.
So, coming up in the next couple of pre-orders, you've got the... Oh, what are they?
Transfers.
You've got the Palanites, the Ogre of Myrmidon, and also you've got Wrath of the Everchosen coming for Sigmar, which has made Varangard heroes in a certain faction, yay. But
Oh, and a
I'll get
pyramid.
past that. Yeah, I mentioned the Lizard Men Doomzigguraths very briefly. That looks lovely. In terms of other minor bits and bobs, so Warhammer Community's had a massive revamp and facelift
It's terrible.
where they've introduced a like button.
Remleiz is not a fan.
I'm not. It's just a fucking horrible layout.
I think it's gonna sound like I'm very kind of old person on the internet, but I don't like how everything's kind of being retooled to deal primarily with handheld devices as opposed to desktops. I'm a very bitter person.
You see, I wasn't a huge fan of the old layout, so I actually kind of like this one. So,
Dang millennial.
but I also don't care enough either way. So, yeah.
That's not the way you're supposed to
Yeah,
do things. It's like if you have an opinion on the internet, you're supposed to like threaten to kill someone if they don't agree with you. You're doing it wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll try and have harsher
Yeah,
opinions in the future.
you need to just be super angry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing, which was became before LVO, but also ties into something that was at LVO, we got the Angels of Death preview, and we also got the new ident that's going to be played at the beginning of Warhammer licensed products. Like they've already decided that they've created their version of the Marvel intro logo.
Yeah, basically.
For Warhammer, so that's maybe a bit
I think
presumptuous.
they should have just brought back Warhammer Records and just sod off with the indent. Who
See,
cares?
that's just because they did they did the whole thing where they were like announcing it, like, oh, what do you think Warhammer will sound like? And it was like, well, if
Bring back Bolt Thrower.
this isn't Warhammer Records,
Goth
if
Rockers.
this isn't Warhammer Records Volume 2, then I'm going to be very annoyed. And then it was
Didn't they kind
and
of reveal it's not? It's just like a recording studio used for like doing their shows, like the Eisenhorn TV series and that.
yeah, it was just they recorded music for
It's
their
just-
for
They've
ident.
literally just
So,
announced that they're paying musicians to make their media better. And it's like, yeah.
yeah.
I'd be worried if you didn't. But bring back Warhammer
I mean, it's
Records.
a cool little ident.
No,
but
it is cool, but like it's kind of like I'm just.
But
like,
I don't know
salty
if
about
I
it.
don't know if I can I physically have it in me to get excited about an ident.
Yeah, I think that's very, very fair. Though I think they did say, I think it was the most percussion gathered for a recording that year. I don't know. I feel like
They had some big drums in there, so.
Yeah, it was impressive, and the Angels of Death preview, in my opinion, looked very, very nice.
Looks cool. Looks cool. I'm always a little worried about 40k like media like that, because as a general rule, we've had several attempts at making stuff like that, be it live action or computer generated, and it's had a bit of a checkered past, and by checkered past I mean it's basically all bad.
No, there was that what was it, that Inquisitor short that was filmed in the book factory opposite Warhammer World or whatever it was. That was pretty good. The guy didn't even have a power pack on.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. But yeah, I'm a little bit hazy because I think that there are certain elements of the universe that don't translate well. But isn't it the guy that did Hell's Reach who's like the main guy behind it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. They understand a little bit. Well, it sounds like I'm saying like the people that did the previous ones didn't understand what they were doing.
I'd say that they are probably in capable hands.
Yeah, I think it's in more capable hands than a lot of previous things that have tried it. So
I'm all for it. I don't want them to stop trying to make live action or like animated like shorts or movies. I want them to keep trying because there's
one day
so
we'll do
much.
it.
Yeah,
I'm still glad we never got a Blood Quest animated series. Because they were working on it during second edition, and they just gave up.
What I want to know is, where is our Thrud the Barbarian animated series?
Heck yeah, get on it.
Something Conan. I don't know.
Yeah, this is just take any given Conan movie and then just use or manipulation to make Conan's head like an eighth of the size, and then you've got a Thrud movie.
And its torso 3 times larger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Basically, get Adam Driver in, CGI his head so it's smaller, and it's perfect.
Yes.
He talks like the Doberman from Up. I'm Thrud the Barbarian.
Oh no.
Front smash.
The other thing that might be interesting. The other thing that might be interesting to our younger viewers, and particularly our younger UK audience, would be the continued partnership with the Scouts and the introduction of the Warhammer Skills Development Program, which essentially allows Scouts to get badges and also can contribute towards your bleeding Duke of Edinburgh. What? Yeah.
Right.
So the Duke of Edinburgh, for those outside the UK, is a series of activities involving generally being a good egg and helping the community, as well as some trekking and camping and a lot of other things. My brother did the Gold Award. I didn't because I was busy. But apparently now doing Warhammer counts a little bit.
It gets you playing Warhammer gets you to meet Prince Philip. Is that right? Am I hearing it right?
I don't know if that's a punishment.
He is the Duke of Edinburgh.
Or...
Am I going to be made to meet him if I play Warhammer? Because if so, I might give the whole damn thing up.
Oh, don't be so smart.
You must be between the ages of 14 and 24.
I'm safe.
No one was going to enter you, honey. But yeah, no, it's like...
But yeah, it's just interesting that this Scouts partnership has gone a bit further, and they've introduced a development program that they've managed to get effectively royally accredited.
It's really weird.
I mean, I think...
It's really weird.
Also, like, Warhammer is so ingrained in British culture.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally, like, at school, when you're around, like, 12, 13, everyone is into 40k. Like, or, like...
They'll have a shot at it, at least.
Everyone will, like, every English person I've met...
Basically, every friend
who is male has... Or, like, everyone has dabbled.
Most of nearly all my
my
especially male friends have the story. The ones who don't still play it are like, oh yeah, I tried Warhammer, but it was really expensive, and that's like
fair.
Everyone has at least that.
Yeah,
that's literally it.
When I talk, and when people ask, when I say I do YouTube, they say, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, "I think called Warhammer." I say, "Oh, I've heard of that." At the very least, everyone who's has heard of
exactly.
it.
It's such a staple of like growing up in the UK.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to see it legitimized like this and kind of.
Yeah, I can actually read the criteria as well for each of the levels. So if you are skill level 1, you have 3 months to complete 12 or more models.
Impossible.
And the skill with the skills you must be able to use cutters, glue, undercoat, base paint, shade paint, understand types of modelling materials, and apply a technical paint. Now, so I've immediately failed because I don't undercoat, and I also don't use technicals. Level 2, 3 months, 12 or more models. Can't read that one. Basic conversions, applying is that undercoat? No, contrast paints, applying dry paints, can't read that. And applying transfers.
Oh, fuck that.
Okay.
I'd lose it on
a bit much.
I'd lose it on transfers. I learned how to do like free-handing symbols because I hate doing transfers so much.
Transfers are so bad. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And level 3, 6 months to do 24 or more models. Use a variety of modelling techniques, using paints, using something effects.
And painting to Slayer sword standards.
Oof.
It's not quite Slayer's sword. I can't quite read the bottom one. Yeah. It's blurry on that side, whereas on the other side it's very easy to read.
I will say I have one thought that I'm not going to get too deep into because it's a little much, but I've got to say I do feel a little bit. It makes me feel a little bit weird to conflate like good. Like scouts is like trying to learn like life skills about being prepared,
and it's
learning these
it's
things.
It's kind of like learning new skills and kind of like getting hobbies and
but
stuff.
Connecting that to a brand that costs a lot of money, and
I guess this means I'll be teaching the scouts how to budget.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know.
How to manage your finances.
If they're gonna like buy a bunch of easy fit like models for the kids, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's you getting kids addicted to crack. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Whilst also tying it to like a company's like.
How else are you going to deal with all those
so
Conquest subscriptions?
Yeah.
I mean, let's say you go for the top level. It's 24 miniatures. So for certain armies, that's 3 boxes of stuff. For certain armies, it's 2. And for some armies, that's just to start collecting. So, plus you're then going to get your other materials. So theoretically, you could do it for on the top level under 70 quid if you pushed it. But I know what you mean.
But it's a nice idea, but I think that there are certain undertones that are a little bit iffy.
And I may be coming at this from a somewhat more anti-capitalist perspective than the average person. So
but we won't go too deep into that.
I just wanted to put that out there.
But it's right. I'm not going to get into details of disadvantage in education because I'll be here all night and I would get it half of it wrong. But you do have to consider these sorts of things in terms of, are some students going to have equipment? Is the school going to have equipment? And I could, if I set up a Warhammer club, a school I worked at in future, I'd only be able to realistically either invite the most affluent or lend out / pass on my old models to make it work. As much as we built our own Warhammer club at school, because we were all getting into it, we were all 12 and all reasonably middle class by some people's measures. We were definitely middle class. I know it is an interesting one, and it's interesting coming at it from the position of someone who's in the position of authority in some ways. I know I'm not an authority on these matters, but I could be a DFE coordinator in future, my school's DFE coordinator. So it's something I could have in the back of my mind. Like I could buy a box of 5 boxes of models and say, "Hey, I can give you a bit of help with your DFE if you don't mind indulging me in my nerdiness."
Yeah, and I think it is just one of those things where it is difficult because ultimately anything to do with Games Workshop is really it's expensive, and there are some people who just simply cannot afford it.
Well, I mean, like I couldn't get into it because I just like when I was dirt poor when I was around that age, and like I couldn't afford shoes, let alone plastic crack. So like there's a lot of kids who would get into it and really really love it, but the pay like the price is just too much of a stopping point for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Like, it would be very cool if, like, they kind of just gave out a bunch of, like, even just, like, crappy little models, like, old, like you know, like, the Berserker models.
I mean,
I don't, you know, look, they're kids, they don't deserve that suffering. You know, it's like easy fit models and be like, hey, kids, this is just a boon from the Warhammer community. Paint up a bunch of stuff.
But you have to be able to use glue, so you can't use push fit.
Well, I mean, I
can,
shaved down the
you can
because
put-
they're harder to put together than, like, an actual...
yeah, the easy
put
fit
glue in
ones
the
are the hardest models to put together in
Yeah.
my experience
Apart
because none of the
They are.
Yeah, they're horrid.
none of
I
them
hate
cut
them.
off the pegs and nothing fits
Yeah.
right, and there's always like super big gaps.
the pegs are too big to fit into the thing, so I always end up having to like trim them down and then glue them together because it's the only way to make them fit flush.
Yeah,
I would rather put together a more complicated kit than put them
I
together.
would rather put a Carnifex together.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. The Carnifex kit is horrible.
It is bloody horrible. I love Carnifexes, but fuck that kit. It is so hard to put
Hey,
together.
let's have 3 sections that you can make 2 of them fit together smoothly, not all of them. Like, oh,
It's like
okay.
it's like the whole like triangle of like options. Pick 2.
Yeah. Oof. But yeah, I think it's just some things like this. Like I have very kind of complicated thoughts about because it's I worry about taking that kind of thing and placing it in kind of kids spaces sometimes because
It like you say, it's complicated.
and conflating it with like life skills rather than just getting you addicted to a game. You know, it's
Anyway, it is complicated,
Yeah.
yes, but that's not
Yeah.
what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Dear.
No. Then last thing I think for news, I know we've gone an hour and we're still on news. Is the fact that early access is due to open for the Warhammer Underworlds online video game. So if you're a Shadespire Beast Gravy person, then you can now play it. Well, almost be able to play it on your PC with probably very few options because it's early access, but.
I'm
It's a
quite
thing.
They'll still probably have more
interested in
options than
this.
Eternal Crusade.
But yeah, no, I'm super interested in this. Because I just want more Warhammer video games.
and it's interesting because there isn't many Age
Yeah.
of Sigmar
Yeah,
ones because most of the time they
there's
go.
not many of them. They always go towards the more sure bet of 40k because that's got a larger player base.
Or they
whereas,
go
like,
for Warhammer, old school Warhammer fantasy.
Yeah, so they tend to play it safe. So like actually seeing AoS, I'm like, ooh, yeah, no, I'd like to give that a try.
Yeah, and as someone who's constantly I've thought about 5 or 6 times about buying Underworld. I've got a warband for Underworlds. I've got Zarbag's kits, so I could play it. But the only way to get there would be to buy the board, and that means buying 2 more armies because it's all in a starter box, and that's 40 more quid that I've then got to deal with. So I need people to play against. So having the option to, if I had a PC that could run anything that required any skill at all, then being able to run it on there, basically play it in early access for 10 quid or whatever it comes out costing, maybe 25 quid, which is still less than the board game, and always have a reliable opponent, instant CPU practice, and a lot more customization without having to buy new cards and new miniatures all the time.
It seems
seems
like
nice.
the way more convenient option. And I'm hoping it is good because
Yeah.
like I said about like just Warhammer media in general, I just want them to make more. And yeah, this looks pretty rad.
And it does
the way
seem
it
to-
looks good aesthetic.
And it does seem to be a pretty straight adaptation of the base game, like
Yeah.
just into a video game. Which and for the same thing, like the little war bands and things for it, like do look really cool. And the problem with there being so many little specialist games for GW now is it's quite hard to know, like, oh well, if you want to get into any of them and you don't
There's
have the money.
quite a large kind of like upfront cost
Yeah.
if you want to try something out. Whereas like video game,
It's not as much.
It's not. It's literally not. So it's,
Worst case scenario, you've got a video game. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So I think putting things like that, like the whole Blood Bowl kind of way of doing it, I think is actually a pretty good idea. So yeah.
Maybe we might even do a Snipe and Wib play again one day.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll make sure to check out the stream if you decide to purchase it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I'll try and remember to check out the stream. Might be hoping against hope for Snipe and Wib play, but there's always streams.
Maybe one day. Who knows?
Right, I think... Oh, wait, no, hang on, I forgot. There's an official Warhammer airbrush thing as well. That wasn't revealed this week, but the painting guide for it was. So, yes, there's now an official Citadel airbrush if that's your thing. It's not mine. Yeah, just want to put that out. And I think...
That was a heck load of news. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, even discounting the sidetracks, it was still most of an hour.
And we didn't talk about the transfers at any point.
I know you're really
Emperor's Children, Dark Angels, White Scars,
Yeah, I
done.
Okay. I don't.
I mean, it's
I
three
don't
legions that
like.
nobody
I
cares
physically
about. So.
cannot. Well, I can use them, but I don't like transfers. I cannot stand using them. So it's like, okay, good.
No, me neither.
I'll just I mean, hell yeah. I'll make my own Space Marine chapter and then just invent an icon that I can paint myself every time. So it's fine.
Right, yeah, that's very fair. Okay, has
Yes.
anyone hit the books this week?
No, but I punched a
Right,
catalogue.
is it... I left that one wide open.
Sorry.
Fair enough. No, I left it wide open. It's my fault.
Okay.
No, I have not.
Yes, you
Remnant.
might want to put a spoiler warning up because this is for Sons of the Selenar.
Right, okay, what time are we on? We are on about 1 hour 6, so I know where to look for it. Okay, spoiler warning is in effect for Sons of the Selenar starting now. Time code will be in the description to skip to. Get out of here. 3, 2, 1.
Drew McIntyre won
Right,
the Royal
I
Rumble.
Yeah, baby! He's my...
Why do you do this?
It's good news, come on. One for Britain.
It is, but I just shoot all the people.
Sorry.
The less podcasts they have to skip, the better. I need
Fair.
that retention rate. I'm joking.
Right,
but
so
anyway, carry on.
basically the story opens up with a prologue that takes place just shortly after the Terran Unification Wars when the Emperor sent his legions to conquer Luna. And basically, the Emperor gave the Selenar gene cult a choice: work for me or die. Which
I
is
do love how
Yeah.
like
Sounds about
passionate
right.
and like caring the Big E is. He's a nice dude.
This is because the Selenar had a greater understanding of genetic manipulation than the Emperor did. That's why he wanted them to work for him,
He was being a salty bee.
pretty much. But as the Lunar Wolves and the Ultramarines and the Imperial Force are laying siege to their fortresses, one gene which is basically tasked with taking a device known as the Magna Mater and hiding with it, while she has all her memories erased of its contents, etc., just so if she gets captured, she can't actually tell what's inside it.
Sorry, did you?
Yeah, that's the
Correct,
Magna Mater.
I was going to
Two
say because
words,
Magna
not
Mater
Magna
does
Mater.
sound like some kind of sex toy.
A little bit. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't think it is.
It
So-
might be in disguise.
So we then jump cut to basically just at the onset of the Solar War, and you have the Shattered Legions arriving in their ship, the Sisyphean, and they're about to get destroyed by what appears to be a World Eater ship. It's something that's screaming Carnager, Carnager, Carnager. That's probably World Eaters, let's be bloody honest.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they just get teleported. They don't know where the fuck they are, and it turns out they're very close to Luna. And they end up picking a distress signal from Luna. And now by this point, Luna had already fallen to the Sons of Horus.
Yep, that happened in Solar War.
And they go down, and they find the Gene Witch. She has the Magna Mater, and it's like, okay, we need to try and find the Magna Mater, because if the traitors get hold of it, everyone's fucked. Even though the Gene Witch doesn't want the Loyalists to have it either, because she doesn't like Space Marines, because, let's be honest, Space Marines wrecked her shit out, But anyway, yes.
Twice.
So they ended up making their way into this complex that had the Magna Mater, and they see the Dark Mechanicum shipping the Magna Mater off. And so basically they steal it, they hijack a gunship. Oh shit, the Dark Mechanicum guy got a distress signal off. oh shit, that's a Thunderhawk. Oh shit, that's just Errant Terminators. No.
Oh shit, that's
Selenar.
Abaddon?
Oh.
Now, the Just Errant are basically saying, why are we being sent to hunt down about, 6 Space Marines? That's nothing. They're just the remnants of Istvan 5, to which one of them pointed out, yeah, that's the point. If they survived Istvan, they're probably very dangerous.
That's a good point, yeah.
Correct,
Also,
yes.
that's Nikona Sharokin, the man who
did
almost
kill
killed
Lucius.
Fulgrim.
Before Lucius came back to life.
He got better.
He got
Yes.
better.
He did get better.
Yes. So it ends up being like a cat and mouse pursuit. They're being chased by Just Errant. Most of them actually end up dying until it's just Sharokin left and an Iron Father. I've forgotten his name. I think it's Freighter. Appropriate for an Iron Father. Those two escape when the Magna Mater or everyone else dies. One Sons of Horus Terminator actually ends up screaming, "Kill it with fire" at one point. No joke.
Memes!
No joke. That's a direct quote.
41st millennium, there is only memes.
Oh, I should point out, the thing that they're referring to, saying "kill it with fire," is that as they're pursuing, the Gene Witch lets loose a bunch of failed creations, one of which basically described as looking like a cross between Horus, a frilled lizard, and has 3 faces. And is
Sounds
basically the
sexy.
size, and is the size of an ogre. So basically an ogre, it could be something like a failed Primarch attempt 2.0 or something.
That
You don't
sounds
know.
really spooky, and I would like to see that in, Warhammer horror.
Yes.
Just,
I-
failed, Primarch clones or something. Just, ooh, that'd be scary. But I
Well-
just now I'm just imagining, like Horus, his head on a frill neck lizard, just going, like when they run upright.
Yes.
And
Okay,
just-
that noise was not helpful.
That's the noise of their feet just going, really fast.
Okay, you're doing actions with your hands now.
Okay, so everyone, you know when the thing does this? Yeah, you get it.
Okay.
No, it's what they do is they rear back on their back legs and their arms go completely limp at their side and they just go, "Meow," and
They
just-
run.
They run.
You can't use words.
So just
please.
Lord-
I said run, didn't I?
No,
Did I
you
not
said,
say run
You said
once?
you said Neum.
I said new.
Right.
I
Anyway.
thought, anyway.
So, as they're fleeing to try and get back to the Sisyphean, it's just literally just Sharokin and this Iron Father. They're trying to get back to the Sisyphean. Oh shit, Sons of Horus vessels approaching. We're being shot with torpedoes. The torpedo's going to hit us in 5, 4, 3. Oh shit, we're not being hit because the fucking Photep has just shown up.
Oh.
The Photep being
Yeah, and
Magnus's
he-
personal
They
flagship.
deliberately moved in to intercept the torpedoes. Fuck knows why.
They're playing intergalactic ping pong.
Because apparently Sharokin basically calls back to a memory of when the Shadow Legions fought against Alfarius, and Alfarius said, "I could kill you, but Magnus told me not to." Yeah.
Basically, it's all gone just as planned.
Now at this point, Sharokin passed out for about 10 days because of all his injuries, wakes up, Alfarius like, "Right, I'm going to set you down here with the Magna Mater so you can hide, and I'm going to lead the traitors on a wild goose chase, because I'm going to die shortly because of my injuries, because I'm absolutely fucked." So he drops Sharokin off. He's about to slip into a Susan membrane coma, and where he's dropped off is basically what's described as a coaling station for ancient ships from the Dark Age of technology and all that. And it's got all the walls are inscribed with various
Dark Age of technology ships
ship
now
names and
coal.
stuff of all previous people who visited the station. And as he's passing out into his Susan membrane coma, he notices one particular name, which he basically gives to Magna Mater. Sancprimus Portum. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, the Sancprimus Portum was basically what Belisarius Cawl had, which had the genetic material of all 20 legions. Yeah,
Basically, it's how the
So
Primarch project came to be.
Pandora's box, basically.
kind of, yeah.
As Gilliman saw it, definitely Pandora's box.
I'm with Big Bobby G here.
And Fade to Black, basically.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, short story, but
So, in essence, the gene cults of Luna, since they had their resources taken over, the Emperor designed the Sacramus Portum, also the Magna Mater, there in order to synthesize the gene seed of the Primarchs and the Legions. It got left behind in case he ever needed to do it again, and the Selenar kept it. They then realized, we can't let the traitors have this, so they gave it over eventually to Shadowkin and the Shattered Legionaries, who ran off, and it's revealed that the
I should clarify again. When at the prologue, when the Gene Witch was basically running off tied with the Magna Mater, this was during the Terran Unification, well, just after the Terran Unification Wars. So basically before the Emperor brought the Gene Cults under his fold.
So that means that the Gene Cults had the resources needed to create Space Marine Gene Seed ready. So they already built
Apparently
Gene
so.
Seed.
Well,
or had access to.
The Emperor did have Gene Labs on the moon as well.
The Emperor didn't have.
Probably. They probably wanted it back or something.
Or
either that or the Emperor stole the original idea from them in the first place. Because they are the master of Genecraft and they have the knowledge that exceeds the Emperor's in this regard. But yeah.
So the big question then is, how does it get from Nikona Shadowkin?
I think that'll be in the next novella, because Graham McNeil is writing a second novella in the Siege of Terror series as well.
Yeah, does it go via Gilliman to call, or does it just go straight to call?
Off the top of my head, at least.
I'm trying to remember when Gilliman gave Cole the assignment to do the Primaris project, whether he gave him the assignment or whether Cole
was given it at some point by Gilliman, maybe. Maybe this takes place after, just as a Siege of Terror ended, when Gilliman's fleet shown up, and they kind of like, hang on, there's a coaling station, and we're getting like a spaceman ship there, go and investigate. Oh shit, someone with all the gene seed. Bring him in. I don't know, maybe. I'm speculating at this point.
Yes, possibly.
But yeah, it's not bad. It's a little underwhelming, I'd say, this book overall. But again, it's a novella. I don't really expect much to happen, over the course of 130 pages or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't have anywhere near as long as a full-length story.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's out of everything that's come out, it's the weakest. But that's just probably mainly because it's length more than anything else. But yeah. So yeah, that sounds the Selenar. In a nutshell.
Well.
Have I disconnected?
No.
Oh, thank fuck for that.
I think Michael might have disconnected. Okay.
No. So, I don't think I did. Although Remleiz has got out on me a couple of times, so that happens every show. I just pass it on and carry on. Pretty much.
But yeah. Yes. I already said that.
1 hour 18.
Sorry,
20.
yeah. Okay, welcome back, spoiler people.
Oh my god, you won't believe what happened in those things. I can't believe...
You won't believe who won the Royal Rumble.
I can't believe that Rem said that. That's got to be illegal.
I mean, there'll be some people who will take the events and cry filthy retcon.
At least I didn't forget about Keith.
We won't touch that.
Because don't you forget about Keith,
Ding.
Don't you forget
about Keith.
Yep. Yeah. I haven't really had time to do any reading. I picked up Gloomspite from the Sigmar, but I haven't had a chance to really do anything with it yet because I've been too damn busy. And I'm kind of just tapping my fingers,
Keith?
waiting for...
Can't forget about Keith.
No, the what's it called?
That's not coming out
Rise,
until
the Farsight
March,
novel.
isn't it?
It's the end of
yes, I
January.
said March.
You're right.
But that's 3 podcasts away.
But that's still 6 weeks, though, isn't it?
Yeah, at the rate I'm working, that will be gone before you know it.
So say that again, because all I heard was No? Okay.
Okay. So
You
is
cut
there
out,
anything
sorry.
Sorry, yeah, you
Because
died on me
all I
there.
heard was
Sorry, yeah, you died on me there.
Oh.
That's
we
pretty
thought
much
you
what I got
guys
from
would
you
use,
as well.
you had your
So
own, like, language. and
so-
just, talking about us behind our backs.
It's like not Zig and Zag, but the other ones are again like computer yip 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 yip.
Oh, the Muppets.
Yeah, that's
Muppet
it, yeah.
Aliens.
Yep, yep,
Was it
yep,
Sesame
yep,
Street
yep,
actually
yep,
from?
It was, yeah.
Same thing.
Cow, moo, yip, 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 yip.
Hamel car yip yip yip.
Yip, 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 ow.
Ferris mouse
Ow.
eating sand, etc.
This is definitely the content that the podcast viewer or listeners are definitely into.
Honestly, if this isn't what they're into, then they're not real 40k or AoS fans.
make sure to give
quite
us a
frankly.
subscribe for more high quality content just like that.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Please,
Yip, yip, yip,
please.
yip, yip, yip.
Smash that like button.
Don't forget to ring that bell.
If you genuinely subscribe for this, then you are going to be exceptionally disappointed.
And just keep
We
demanding.
know how
that
to
we get
disappoint
back on.
people.
Anyway, shall we do some questions, or is there anything else to say?
Yep.
Okay, what is it?
Yep. Oh, I was just quoting those weird little like sock puppet thingies, aliens.
Yeah, just go
Just
go
keep
through the
going,
questions,
ignore me.
please, God, just keep the
Okay,
pressure on.
okay, questions. Okay, this is appropriate. What did you think about this year's Royal Rumble event?
Oh, I love it how the aliens from Sesame Street won. I'm proud. I'm really proud of them actually. They were like,
In all
bulldog.
seriousness,
Yep, 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 yep.
In all seriousness, good show overall.
yes.
Not perfect. I why Charlotte? Why? But
It should have been Baszler.
anyway, we won't get
Should've
into
been
too much
Shayna
about
Baszler.
professional wrestling. That's definitely not what you subscribed for.
Drew McIntyre, good choice. It should have been Shayna Baszler who won the women's match.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You know, when people talk about wrestling, I realise what we sound like to people that don't play Warhammer.
hey, wrestling's very classy. It's the last remaining like vintage piece of theatre.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Where else
yeah.
can you find like gigantic barra greased up men grappling with each other?
Exactly.
True.
Yeah,
True.
exactly. Like respect.
It has
art.
class.
It does. It has prestige.
Right. Anyway, since the
And
last time we
Mandaris.
saw Sevatar, he is a prisoner of the Dark Angels. Is it possible he's currently held within the Rock?
He'd probably have died by now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
last
that is
time-
some good rock.
Wasn't he held on the Invincible Reason as opposed to the Rock, though?
Also that, but the Dark Angels still have the invincible. Do they still have the invincible reason?
Maybe, but I don't know.
I can't remember if they still have it.
They might do. But to be honest, at this point, I think Sevatar's just dead.
I think by now,
Sorry to
yeah,
disappoint you.
he's certainly.
He's a big dead bitch.
Like, I mean, because like, what reason would the Dark Angels have to keep him alive? You know, he's not a fallen. You know, he's not, you know, someone who needs to confess for, you know, betraying the Dark Angels. You know, it's like the same way to say like Luther was. They'd have no reason to keep him alive, really. Let's be honest.
Just for yucks, you know.
You could throw water balloons at him. That'd be pretty funny.
That's just mean.
They think his helmet's very funny.
Yeah, they keep him alive as a joke.
Dark Angels, sense of humor, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very true.
Well, they do have one. It's just really bad, so hence keeping him alive because his helmet is funny.
That's actually a good point, yeah. You know when something's so non-law friendly that it goes all the way around and becomes law friendly
Yeah,
again?
yeah.
Yeah. That's my sweet spot right there.
Okay, why does Typhus treat Mortarion so badly? Because Typhus is a petulant. He's a petulant child. You know, he's the petulant child of a petulant child, and he happens to have a higher standing in the eyes of Nurgle.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's a salty boy.
He's a smelly boy.
He's a salty,
A
smelly
smelly,
boy.
salty boy.
Ugh.
He smells of salt.
Oh, the lab I was working in today basically spent the entire afternoon smelling of vinegar. It was the worst.
Is it just that damn salty sweat smell?
We were doing a volcano rocket in a Coke bottle using vinegar and sodium bicarb, and
Oh god.
Yeah.
it went really well. But as they were prepping it, they just had to pour like bottles of vinegar, full bottles of vinegar into this Coke bottle. The whole lab just stank of the stuff.
Vinegar is gross.
I mean, it could be worse. They could have somehow managed to get an entire brick of magnesium and drop it in the bucket of water.
Yeah, but that
magnesium in water wouldn't do much. It's the properly alkaline metals like potassium in water you want to watch out.
That's
for.
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a miniature bomb going off.
I remember where they showed us these things at school, and they do like the ones that were safe to do tiny ones of, and then they just showed us a video.
A strip of it.
Yeah,
and they showed us a video of
so you
like,
do
the really bad
lithium.
ones.
You can do lithium safely, sodium safely. Potassium can explode, so you can't put loads in, otherwise you'll crack the basin. Rubidium, cesium, and francium. Francium you basically can't get because it's super rare and super radioactive. But you can get it, but it's exceptionally difficult. But if you can get...
And probably not good to have an incredibly irradiated material in front of a bunch of school kids.
No,
I mean, probably.
But the most famous thing with francium is the Brainiac video where they put francium in a bathtub, and it was like a bomb going off.
Oh god, yes!
That
was brilliant.
I know something about that video, but I've been criticised for saying it out loud, and in case my students are listening to this podcast, I don't want to spoil anything.
Were you disappointed the guy ran on custard?
That was really cool. Doing non-Newtonian fluids. That was a really cool experiment. I loved that idea. And today, actually, we had one of the training teachers who's also going to do a PhD after he's done his PGCE, brought in this thing called a ferrofluid, which is basically...
ferrofluid is so cool.
I'm going to assume that wasn't sarcasm and carry on.
No, it is. That wasn't sarcasm. I genuinely think ferrofluid is cool.
Yeah,
sorry.
so they're basically
He's the younger brother, Ferrosmanus.
So it's basically you take this ferrofluid, which is like it behaves ferromagnetically like iron filings. You dilute it with some WD-40, and you lie it down in between two perspex screens, and you put a bar magnet on top, and you basically induce a gradient of concentration of ferromagnetic material so that light basically bends round perpendicular to the field lines, and it looks... I'll put it in the chat, and it looks absolutely sick. It is genuinely... The guy brought it in, and we're at 4 physicists in the lab, and we all just could not stop talking about it in the pub afterwards. It was amazing. Genuinely amazing.
I just love the idea of all these teachers sitting around just losing their shit because this science was so cool.
Yeah, but that's what makes a really good teacher. So.
Like, no sarcasm there. That's actually just really cool.
Yeah, it really was, and I just need to... How does one... That's how one does. So
you wouldn't believe this discussion came about from a question about Mortarion. Mortifers.
Yeah, Mortarion was a big lover of ferrofluid.
And that was Fulgrim who loved that. He loved Ferris's ferrofluid.
Oh, because of the kissing.
Yes,
you've been reading
kissing.
my fan fictions, Ram. Oh my goodness. I don't actually write sexy Primarch fan fictions.
Not yet.
Not yet. Like, comment, subscribe for more sexy Primarch.
No, but I know Ghazghkull
does. Came in.
Huh?
You don't write them after the complaints.
No.
But speaking about
injunction.
But speaking about Primarch fanfiction, hi Dusky. Right. Okay. Which actor would you cast to play Eisenhorn in the upcoming TV series?
Mark Strong.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
He voiced him, and I think he'd do it amazing.
He did a good,
he's got a good job. He's done a good job of the voice. He was really good as Captain Titus as well.
Yeah, I mean, like
he's just got a voice for 40k, and I think
the Eisenhorn game is hot toss, but like he did a good job in it.
He did a very good
and
job.
He can do comedy. I've seen him in Kingsman. He can do comedy as well. If they want to lean Eisenhorn a little bit that way as well, they can do with quippy one-liners.
Yeah. That's my suggestion anyway.
Yeah, it's actually honestly, I can't actually argue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only caveat being, well, obviously you did just do a bit of hair work.
Yeah.
Give him a good toupee or a nice hat.
Or a terrible toupee. Like, really
That would be
comedically
funny.
bad.
Like an Inquisitor with a really bad toupee with all the rejuvenate treatments they have access to.
Would you tell an Inquisitor that he had a bad wig?
Yeah, which is why I would last 10 minutes in the 41st millennium.
Though part of me also now wants to say, just to be out there, Sean Bean.
Yeah, I reckon Sean Bean could bring some grit to the role. He's got that good kind of.
Does Eisenhorn die though?
Presumably, eventually, yeah.
Plus, we get to hear Sean Bean saying "bastard" over and over again.
Bastard.
Because he's the king of saying "bastard." Right. How long does it take for the AdMech to create a new Titan?
Far too long for sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Ghazghkull aware of the existence of Gorguts? Probably not.
Probably not. Certainly not now, because Gorguts isn't dead because he survived Dawn of War 3, but he's certainly not on Ghazghkull's radar.
Well, don't the let's just say the relic verse of 40k stuff exist in sort of its own little pocket universe, so it is sort of questionable canonicity anyway. So.
Yeah, Angelos's existence in both is true, but they even in the Bloodravens lore article for White Dwarf, they never explicitly discuss the events of Dawn of War. They just reference the fact that Gabriel Angelos exists and his backstory is canon, but what happens in Dawn of War is not mentioned as canon, I don't believe.
I know Dawn of War is in canon with the Space Marine game, because towards the end, you do go.
Titanicus goes yes, you did well in the Aurelian Crusade. It's which Aurelian Crusade? Which one?
You know that one. Shut up. There was only one. But yeah, so it's that is pretty cool that all the games are kind of
Wasn't there 3? 3 Aurelian Crusades.
I mean, apparently there was only one, according to the Ultramarines. But I mean,
to be fair, the one where Chaos basically came back or whatever to conquer their home system. Yeah, I think the Bloodravens might have kept that one quiet, considering they nearly got exterminated off the map.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the one that just didn't happen. No, no, it's fine.
No, that was just a dream. It's fine.
I mean, that's what you get for being descent from traitor stock. But hey.
But I do think that when you think about Gorguts is when you talk about the scale of importance of Ghazghkull is a nothing entity to Ghazghkull.
Well, it's interesting in the Orc ending to Dark Crusade, Gorguts essentially is the second biggest boss in the galaxy behind Ghazghkull if he wins Dark Crusade. And
Dreg would like a word.
They reference the fact that you're going to be the biggest, baddest war boss of all. Stupid grot. Everyone knows that Ghazghkull's the biggest and all that, for now at least. So they sort of imply that if Gorguts goes on to win on Cronus, he enters the radar of the Orcs around everywhere. But the Orcs always lose in Dawn of War, so no.
Didn't they canonically win Soulstorm, though? There was one of them where the Orcs canonically were the victors.
It will have been Soulstorm then, because there's 3 games with branching paths. There's Winter Assault, where Toldir wins. There's Dark Crusade, where the Bloodravens win. And then there's Soulstorm, where I assume, therefore, canonically Gorguts must win.
There you go. Right. In the novel Storm of Damocles, there is a suit of Mark II armour painted silver with the symbol of Malkador. This suit is located in the Deathwatch fortress of Pickett's Watch. Why do you think there is a suit of Knights Errant armour in a Deathwatch fortress?
Because it's the Deathwatch.
I like my answer better. It's obviously like way more canon. Because they're just big fans. Don't want to just cosplay.
I wasn't aware the Death Watch needed to have a reason to have like arcane nonsense knocking around.
Mm-hmm.
It's just their thing.
Yeah.
You'd imagine something like that, like Knight Iron Armor. You'd imagine that'd be more in the property of like, I don't know.
Grey Knights.
Yeah, not the Death Watch.
But then again, only a few Knights Errant became Grey Knights. The others had to go somewhere.
Well, the majority of them actually became Grey Knights. It's just that, from what I understood in regards to Buried Dagger, it's mainly just Loken and those Death Guard who came with Garrow who didn't.
And Garrow himself, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean as well.
Yeah.
Because Loken was going to be a Grey Knight, and he turned around and said to Malcador, nah, fuck that shit.
Yeah,
essentially.
And I can see Garrow more being involved with the Inquisition, which at the time was just the Ordo Malleus. But that armor then entering the circulation of the Inquisitors.
Well, technically,
at
that point, the Ordo Malleus technically didn't even exist. It was just the Inquisition. It was during the War of the Beast they split into the Ordo Zenus and Ordo Malleus.
Yeah. But it means that the Inquisition have that armor, have Space Marine Knight Errant armor in their sort of roster of stuff, meaning that it's possible that a Chamber Militant of Space Marines could then get it. But that would assume that there was a Death Guard or Loken who was wearing Mark II, and I don't believe that there was much Mark II lying around.
Maybe they found it on a planet. It's like that deserves to be taken back and restored to glory.
Oh yeah, it could just as simply be that. There's plenty of options.
So we found it. It's like, you found it. It fell off the back of a truck.
I mean, that's as good an explanation
A
as...
friend of my uncle's sold it to me in the Space Pub.
My uncle works at Nintendo,
My
and he sold it to me.
My uncle works at Space Nintendo, and he sold it to me.
Along with Mew 3.
Given the nature of 40k, there's like, and the scale of time, there's a million ways that something can come into possession of anyone, really. Especially given the... the whole 40k thing of the technology, if maintained, can last thousands of years. So,
Okay, aside from the Codex Astartes, did the other Primarchs write any noteworthy texts? Well, there's Lorgar and the Lectitio Divinitatis.
I was going to say the
Book of Magnus. The Grimoire
Nostra. Multiple books. He wrote lots of romance novels about this big red guy just getting all the, quote, hot babes, end quote.
Alfarius, big into the weirdly King of the Hill fanfiction.
Oh, he loved King of the Hill.
Wouldn't have predicted that, but that's just how,
Yeah. His favourite character was Bobby, which I understand.
Yeah. Sorry, you should probably go and give, serious answers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we got Lorgar, Lectitio Divinitatis, Magnus, the Book of Magnus, Conrad Kurz, the Grimoire Nostromo, Angron, the Clotted Scrolls. What was it? Vulcan, the Tome of Fire, I believe.
Not sure.
Possibly. I need to double check on Salamander's lore, but that's a possibly. Didn't Ferrus Manus write one as well? Which everyone completely misinterpreted. And so, yes, we need to cut off our limbs now. And replace them with
happen.
I think no.
Instructions
the only book I know of Manus writing was his own journal, which is where he talks about
okay.
They might have actually advocated it as Legion policy, but I don't believe it had a name.
I just love the idea of, Dear Diary, everyone should cut off their arms.
In Ferrus Manus' case, it was pretty much like, Dear Diary, why is everyone stupid but me?
Yeah.
I tell them not to cut off their fucking arms, and they're fucking doing it. I tell them, I envy the fact that that they have biological arms and hands, and mine are made of metal, and I don't like it. So what do? They cut off their own fucking arms, replace them with metal, because they say the flesh is weak.
It's so rude.
I'm gonna go and eat sand now.
It's the only answer in that situation.
He's gonna have a sand wedge.
Or golf club.
An open-faced club sand wedge. Have a little tomato and just fistful of sand. Adds
Fair enough.
texture.
Right. Is it said anywhere what the Emperor's opinion on Sanguinius being referred to as an angel and his chapter being called the Blood Angels was? I would have thought of him being against religion, he would dislike the use of angel, with it being an inherently religious term.
I mean, this is the same emperor who uses the words crusade, cherub, purity, litany, and all the other things.
He was very big on symbols.
Are you suggesting that the Emperor might be a bit of a hypocrite?
Pish.
Accurate.
How could he be?
Are you suggesting he's a horse?
Yeah, I'm suggesting he's a rhinoceros. Because his nose hair is so long and hard that it forms a horn on the front of his face. But because he's like the most powerful psyker in the world, just the world, he just makes everyone forget it. Or at least he thinks he does. Everyone is just so worried about him just exploding them with his mind that they just kind of pretend it's not there.
Okay.
To give a serious answer, I think the Emperor would have been...
That is a serious answer! What a hater. Oh my god.
I think the Emperor would have seen it as like a beneficial mutation to see him as an angel, because he'd probably be like, this could actually be quite symbolic, for my subjects, and they can be inspired, and this could help bring people under my sway. Yes, we will use this. This is good.
Another gear in the propaganda machine.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a definite
Very
cynicism to how the Emperor used the things that he was ostensibly supposed to be against.
I mean, let's be honest. An angel is far more marketable than, say, a red-eyed, fire-breathing dragon. In regards to, like, peacefully join our Imperium. Look, we have an angel. Look how beautiful he is. Or you can look at this guy who wants to set everything on fire. Your choice.
I don't know, there's a certain honesty that I can respect about, setting everything on fire,
You know where you stand.
Yeah, you know where you stand.
The angel
on fire.
the angel might be an arsonist, you don't know.
And then Vulcan says,
I mean,
"No, I'm not
fair.
going to use rad weapons. That's a very cruel way of killing someone. You set people on fire, though. Shut up."
That's different though. It's okay when I do it.
It helps warm the cockles of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What Chaos God will be most likely to cooperate with the Emperor? Malice.
Zing.
Because it's all according to plan.
Nah, it'd be Malice, the god who's against the other gods.
Oh no,
Well,
it would absolutely be Malice, yeah. Who is canon and my best friend.
He is canon, yeah.
Yeah, he's
But
canon.
Malice hates all the Chaos Gods, so if we run with the
Yeah,
theory...
which is why
of-
he'd side with the Emperor to fuck up the other Chaos Gods.
But he's all about anarchy.
Yeah, well, he's gonna
Helping the Emperor
The
cause more...
Emperor is-
He'd cause more anarchy, at the very least in the short term. It's like, right, I'm going to cause more anarchy. Now I'm going to stop and let him get stuck in the shit of it and go point and laugh and go, ha ha ha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and hang out with Hashut now and play poker.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
I mean, there is that thing of that I don't think any of them would long-term work with him, but, there's obviously ways in which you could,
beneficial
they
stuff
would work
from Cinch that would make a lot of sense.
There's ones that would work for a
'Cause
while.
Cinch is always scheming, and Malice is just cool, so
Just
yeah.
causing nonsense.
Just being a silly dude.
Causing mischief.
Being a cheeky boy.
As opposed to a cheeky girl.
Or a cheeky being. There we go. They being a cheeky bean.
Yes, I'm surprised you didn't get the reference I made, but never mind.
No, I'm very tired, so that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Also, I still can't believe the fact that one of the cheeky girls actually dated a politician, which was a bit weird.
Yeah, what the hell?
Oh, yeah, that
Do
was
you
a
think
thing.
they would just swap cheeky hats or whatever and go out on dates with him?
I'm sure he'd be very happy about that. It's like, I get to have both.
I'm just
he
going to
wouldn't
say...
know, it would be a big secret.
I'm going to straight up say I don't want to imagine any part of this.
It's a really clever thing. 'cause
Imagine a
everyone feels
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to the cheeky girls.
They're
I
the
mean, to be
queens.
fair, the next episode is being recorded on Valentine's.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
God.
romantic. You should have me on.
And I know who the next guest is as well.
Oh, no.
Yes, they're very angry with me.
Is it me?
No.
No, worse.
Oh.
In terms of rage at Rem, it's worse.
Oh, shit, okay. Is it me, but you've cloned me?
No. I'll just say this. Ooh woo.
Okay, now yeah. Yeah. R.I.P. Remleiz. It's fucked.
There will be no animal magnetism on that show.
No, just straight up murder.
Right. What are the chances we'll get new Khorne Berserkers and Noise Marines?
Oh, I hope so.
Slim.
I hope that we get them because, oh my god.
There are just those certain models that just will never ever die, and it is upsetting.
Right.
Ragnar, Black Mane, of course, the
That is the classic.
that's the classic. But even things like I always forget how old Space Marine bikers actually are. Like,
What about the Terminator Rune Priest? That's like a rogue trader model
Oh.
with its oversized head
I
and
have
tiny
one of
body.
those.
no, you didn't.
Oh no, what do I have?
You had because I gave you my
Isn't
old.
he like second edition?
It's a second ed Terminate Librarian.
Yeah.
I gave you,
and
yeah.
he is just a post box.
Back on his old 25mm base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so diddle.
Do you have the metal Bjorn Novella handed? Which you
Yeah.
can throw at someone and kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. I always take a sock to Warhammer World just in case. I did get.
Is
the
he on
new
his
plastic
square
one, which is
base?
busy. No, I did. I do have him on his proper
Yeah,
on a
no,
proper circular base because I got him off eBay, didn't we?
Yeah, he had like a weird third party base originally.
And
that
it
we got
was
him with,
it
so.
was really weak and did not trust that.
However,
base at all.
I do have a Dreadnought on an old square base, but it is a Rogue Trader one. So
I saw one on.
Yeah,
eBay.
I've got.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Well, I saw one on for sale on eBay that was literally it had two small rectangle bases, like one on each foot.
oh, it had two of the old square
Yeah.
Warhammer Fantasy
and it
bases.
looked like it had rollerblades.
They just had one on each foot.
It was really cute.
Yeah, I think I've got one of the. I think it's Space Crusade Chaos Dreadnoughts, and
I'm
Oh, the
so
209.
jealous.
and that's on Square.
Yeah.
Oh, he's lovely. He is a good boy.
Those sell for an outrageous amount on eBay. It is
Yeah.
upsetting.
They're so
You have
cool.
15 seconds to comply.
Duly noted when I need to fund my Teclis obsession.
Yeah, I think you can. They start around about 25 quid, which, considering that they're a small piece of poorly detailed plastic, you know.
It's pretty good.
I wouldn't even be able to buy one box of Spearmen for that, but yes, anyway.
Yeah.
And there'll be one that's like very poorly painted but has in the description pro painted.
Oh my god! Take
Oh,
a
if you
shot every
just-
time
if-
you see pro painting.
Now go down the pro painted, like, air quotes, tab on, if you search it on eBay, like pro painted Warhammer. Some people in my Discord have done it 3 or 4 times, and it is constantly just the most mind-numbing you what, mate.
Is it basically just Dr. White's Fin Your Paints video?
No, it's just awfully painted, awful miniatures.
Yeah, it's just
Same
people
thing.
trying to be Johnson. But it's like, yeah, no, I don't have enough like stuff to soak that model in to remove the literal meters of paint.
There was one time I actually got like a Deathwing Terminator, like one of these second edition metal ones. And after stripping the paint off, it was literally like about 25% smaller. That's how much paint was on it.
I mean, I
Just start chipping it away with like a hammer and chisel.
I bought a Brother Angst
Yeah.
ages ago, which is like original like
25p one.
batch. Yeah, they're one of the original batch of Space Marines, and it had the wrong backpack on. Because it was like a second ed era backpack they'd attached to it, and it didn't fit. So what they did was they just kept putting glue on it until it fit.
Well, when green stuff is a bit far away.
I literally had to like chip away the glue. It was like archaeology to get to the model
You got the
underneath.
paintbrush there.
Yeah, because because it's the old lead stuff. Well, lead, you know.
Oh,
the
it's soft,
more
isn't
heavy
it?
lead. It's
Mm.
the actual metal was softer than the super glue that had hardened around it. It
Oh,
was
God.
really weird. I did eventually get him all repaired, and he is actually like in my army now. So he was like my great restorative work to take what is already a crap sculpt and
No,
then
no,
rescue it.
It's a charm.
To make it a little
yeah.
less crab.
He's got an original like first ed backpack and everything.
Nice.
He's a good boy.
Actually, he doesn't have the original one because the original one's the metal ones, and they're actually kind of hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
Oof.
But he's got a plastic one anyway of first ed, so
That's
it's all fine.
What are the chances of the Tau God of the Greater Good actually being a Chaos Demon?
Not impossible, but demons would have to... It would take a very powerful entity to do what the God of the Greater Good supposedly did. And demons forming from emotion is unlikely because they're offshoots of a god typically, or they're just fragmented nothing, and that's where you get
They can form from powerful events. I mean, again, look at Draknien.
Draconien, I suppose, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, considering that,
But
considering
that's an event, not a concept, a belief, and that belief in unity and progress through unity,
and also
that feels like a godly thing than a demon thing.
there's also the fact that, let's call it Calva, they would describe it as basically being benevolent. How many demons do you see that are benevolent?
How many anythings do you see that are benevolent?
Isha? That's one.
Okay, name more than one.
That's the exception that proves the rule.
I suppose technically you could say Nurgle, because Nurgle loves you.
Nurgle is a good boy.
He just needs to wash.
He just needs to stop throwing the plague at people. It's a bit yucky.
So, Nurgle loves you. Here, have some Ebola.
That's one of his favourites.
Something, Ebola-chan, I don't know. Right. Question. When I asked if you'd do a live show, I meant in person with tickets we could buy. Would be good to see you both and play each other in a battle too.
There's no way we'd be able to sell anywhere near enough.
No. What you should do is do it, send that person a link, and just have them show up in your living room, offer them bourbon biscuits and tea, or coffee if they prefer.
Or if they want Battenberg.
Then you kill them and hide the body beneath the stairs.
Okay, I was with you up until a point.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah, you see, we'd have to do it at a UK show, and there's not loads of those that don't take place at Warhammer World these days. There are a few, but a lot of them are things like Throne of Skulls, or similar tournamenty things, and then there's the odd event like Warhammer Fest, which goes outside of Warhammer World.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not opposed to going to Warhammer Fest if my timetable allows it. In fact, I think my timetable this year might allow me to go to
We're
Warhammer
going
Fest.
this year. You should come too. It'd be really cool.
I will see about going to Warhammer Fest, but the problem with there's a difference between going to Warhammer Fest and setting up a meet and greet panel
Yeah, there is
anywhere.
very big difference. There's a financial element that is not something to laugh about.
Having
There's a logistical element.
There's a logistical element.
Having been members of a band for like a decade and having put on shows on many occasions, I think a lot of people don't really appreciate how much it can cost,
or how much
and how much work
crazy
it
amount
is
of work you have to put into
to
it.
set up anything like this.
Yeah.
Just the sheer logistics of what you're doing
You
are
need to
actually
rent a
quite
venue.
difficult.
You need to
Especially if you're the only person who can fucking drive.
exactly. I mean, I can drive. It's just the government won't let me. So
Remarkably accurate.
that sounds really bad. I just don't have a full license.
Yeah.
I actually obey the law of the road because I'm not a dickhead. I drive with my feet because it makes me feel cool.
But yeah, I think the idea, that would also require Rem stepping out from behind the dino mask, which
He doesn't have to. We can get him a dinosaur onesie.
it's more, and also with
He could do a Zote cosplay.
Injuries.
Michael, you've got to be the butt. I'm sorry.
What, the butt of the Zod?
The Zote
basically
butt,
as a put.
But he's already the butt of the joke.
Oh,
Sorry.
Very
I'm
funny.
not against going to Warhammer Fest and maybe hanging around an area for a bit. I'm not opposed to that if I can time it, because I'll see the seminars, and then maybe in the morning or in the evening I'll be around the bar, or probably not the bar because I don't drink, but somewhere,
Especially not in the morning.
especially not in the morning, I'll be somewhere and be like, hey, if people would like to talk to me, I'm here. But we can't have a game, obviously, because there won't be games on. And if there are, there'll be sanctioned tournaments. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that, and I'll see what's going on when the tickets go on sale and whether it clashes with my timetable or not. But certainly
Well,
there
if
won't
you
be a
do,
live podcast. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, we even just trying to, like, 'cause people have asked us like when we used to play with a band, like, to just like live stream gigs
Oh,
and things,
good
and it's like,
lord.
No.
oh god, you know, like, no.
Live streaming is so hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Like,
it's
if you want
yeah.
to set that up in a venue, fucking good luck.
Like, if you want to set
mate.
it up well, like,
If you want to,
be,
if you want to set it up well, especially like live sound, like, oh my Christ.
yeah, if you want,
That's why so many like recordings of like panels at conventions and stuff have shit sound, because it is so hard to do correctly. It is really difficult, and a lot of conventions either don't splash out for sound engineers that can be asked, or sound engineers that know particularly how to get the best sound.
and just
for
sometimes
recording.
sometimes a microphone just doesn't work properly,
So it's
or one of your
or-
50 cables is busted and you don't know
or
which.
somebody spilt fucking water on the monitor. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many cogs in which to throw a wrench into.
Yeah.
It is outrageous. Not to mention the financial element.
And assuming the con has good internet.
And
Yeah.
exactly. Otherwise, you're gonna have to be like, oh god, and then like a decent stream is gonna be like, it's gonna probably be about 3 to 6 gig an hour.
Yeah, like, I
if
can't
you want
run.
really good quality.
I've got. I think my internet is. It should have been a lot faster than it actually is. I think mine's 15 meg up and 15 meg down, something like that. Which I think is pretty. It's not what they advertise, but that's just the fact that my building didn't get fiber when they built it when it should have done. But I can't hold a stream on Ethernet or Wi-Fi on the university's own Wi-Fi network, which was lightning fast. It couldn't hold a stream up for more than half an hour. So, and that wasn't with gaming. That was just me sitting there talking. It could not hold a stream. So, yeah, it's a really difficult thing to actually get streaming set up. Just on I can only speak from an internet basis because I just sit there with a microphone and talk. But yeah, there's a lot of logistics goes into streaming.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
However, I will say, if either of you do end up at Warhammer Fest, we're planning to be there. So if
you want to avoid us, you already know what we look like. So
then tell us where you'll be, and we'll be able to avoid that. You know.
I probably won't,
Yeah.
but I don't think anyone was expecting it.
And
to.
also, it's brave of you to assume that you'll be able to like segment people meeting you to like a certain zone, because you'll find if you go to Warhammer Fest, so many people recognize you.
Well, it's I'm not saying I won't run across people. Like, I can set a time and say I'm going to be here at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And the other thing that sort of crosses my mind, and I know I'd never do it as a proper thing, is if going to con should invest in own not merch, that would be ridiculous, but get a sort of on brand, like get your own custom shirt or something, and just rep the brand.
I mean, we had some little pin badges made up, and just anyone who came up and was like, "Hey, I know who you are," we just give them a pin badge. Just like the little like D-pad cardinal archivist.
Yeah,
symbol.
The main problem with mine is that my channel's symbol is just the Aquila, and I will update it. I will update it at some point to the Tau avatar, but probably I need to wait for things to fall into place before I hit that button.
Yeah.
But
interesting thing, if you make prints of a copyrighted image, if you sell it, you're doing a bad thing. Whereas if you give it away, you're fine.
I think the legality's a bit more complicated than that. But
I am oversimplifying it, but that is a thing. So, in the UK, at least.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's a lot better.
It's interesting because I don't think, aside from mini wargaming, I don't think any hobby YouTuber has merch. I think that's right. I know mini wargaming have their shirt. I don't even know if that's merch.
Didn't Zoran have socks for a while? I mean, I assume he has socks, but I mean, like, didn't he have Zoran the Bear socks for a while? Or did I dream that?
maybe.
I'd have to check with him. I can't
Well,
remember.
if you want to partake in some 40k YouTuber merch, check out us later this year.
Yeah.
Wait, you're going? You're gonna go merch?
Yeah.
Fair dues. Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot of stuff that's not copyrighted.
We
so.
have a lot of stuff that's not copyrighted. We've both prepared images for printing, so we can do most of the legwork ourselves.
Yeah, that's the big difference. Again, to go back to the band thing, we did band merch for years, so we know how to do all this stuff ourselves.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very helpful skills.
Yeah. I actually, speaking of merch and YouTubers, this isn't a hobby, but I actually came across / I'm following the Stupendium, which is like a British nerdcore artist, and one of their merch was for the Outer Worlds, and it was just said there was a little poster that was like, "We work to earn the right to work," and I'm just like, as a teacher, I feel this on such an emotional level.
Yeah.
I feel a deep connection to this mug on an emotional level. That is a teacher's mug.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just like brainstorming a T-shirt in my head, which would have like the avatar and the name on the back, and maybe I can't use the enclave symbol. I can't use the Aquila. Probably I'd do a combination with the tutorialis symbol, or something like that. And oh my god, what time is it? Oh blimey heck! I could keep going for absolutely ages, but I'm gonna stop now, or I'll never ever get to the end. Right. All merch discussions put to one side for a moment. Let us know in your comments, what would you do with Tactica Imperialis merch? Please don't tell me that, because I don't want to know, because then I'll have an idea and I'll do it. And I don't want to do that because I ain't got the money. Right. That has been episode 89 of Adeptus Podcastus. So thank you everybody for joining us and listening along as always. It's been a pleasure to talk, and thank you to Snipe and Wib for joining us once again.
Thank you for having us. It's always wonderful hanging out with you guys.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
Also, it's been like 2 years since I was on the Misanthrope pod, and when was Ram's last appearance?
3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, really? Yeah, we need you guys back on. Oh my goodness.
In fairness, we've had like in our 95 episodes, we've had like 6 guests or something.
Yeah, we're pretty shit at it, but
Like,
we need to get you guys back on. It's so fun.
Yeah. Also, PSA, Remleiz and I will, by the time you watch this video, have been on Warp Time Radio. We're going on together for the 1st of February episode of Warp Time Radio with Scarlett and Caitlin. So make sure to head over to Scarlett's channel, which is where the VOD is, so that you can sit an extra dose of Podcastus if you really, really feel like stomaching another 2 hours of Podcastus.
Which sounds amazing, honestly.
With extra Ian Watson references.
Oh god, wait, yes, hang on, it's gonna...
Yeah,
Oh no.
Michael didn't think of that.
There's no Storm. Like, Storm is the me of the group who tries to keep things on the rails, and god.
It's just Caitlin and Scarlett. It's all Ian Watson.
Oh, I've got lessons to... Oh, what am I signed up?
It's going to be the episode of sin.
What's going to happen is going to be like 5 minutes into the show, then Michael's going to say, I have to go now, my planet needs me.
And then you just hear the microphone just get stamped on repeatedly.
You just hear the microphone just clatter down, headphones clatter down,
hear
a door slamming.
You hear a car starting.
The intro comes on, do the intro. So, no, I changed my mind, I'm out. I just gone, we'll see.
You're very Scottish for a second.
It's
Drew McIntyre.
No, it wasn't. What was I've heard that quote, like, it was in one of Thunder's Dawn of War videos. He used that line. Anyway.
Speaking of which, Thunder, we're still waiting on the Dawn of War 2 video.
That will keep happening. Right, thank you very much. This has been Tactica Imperialis.
This has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
I've been Snipe from Snipe and Wib.
I've been Wib from Snipe and Wib.
And we will see you all again. Bye for now.